Hey everybody, Knolly Williams here once again, founder of Mentorship Masters, and I've got a very special treat for you today. I've got my good friend Teal Clise, who came to our group just not even that long ago, and she is an absolute rock star. She's crushing it. In fact, she was crushing it before she got here. She's doing even better now. So we are going to have a great six-figure success story with Teal Clise. Teal, how are we doing today?
I am great. Thank you for having me. It's so good to see you.
Hey, it's good to see you as well. And I'm just amazed. I remember it wasn't that long ago. In fact, it was earlier this year that we were having sort of like these discovery conversations with am I moving my team to EXP? And that was pretty interesting. And a couple of them were very interesting because I think one of them I was in Puerto Rico, and we had really bad connection.
Yeah.
And you had your whole team on, and they were trying to hear what I was saying and everything. But so let's tell us before we kind of really get into it. I mean, what excites me about you, Teal, is your tenacity. When you get on mission, you stay on mission. The love that you have for your team is just phenomenal. The way that you kind of mother them, if I can use that word, or you kind of gather them together, and you really care about their success at a deep level, and they feel it, they understand, and the loyalty that they have as well. And then the other thing is that you were in a committed relationship with Keller Williams for many years, and you loved it there. I'm sure. And so, tell us a little bit about the Teal Clise team and how you got into the business of real estate and how the whole team thing eventually came about.
Yeah, sure. So I've been in the overall world of real estate since 2001, but I spent 11 years in new construction. There came a time when it was actually, I can't remember exactly what year it is. Well, it would have been 2012 that it was like October, and my daughter was in ninth grade, and I realized I was in new construction. I was in that sales seat where you're kind of chained to the model home all weekend. You
Yep.
don't get a lot of time off unless you really pre-plan it. And the homecoming crept up on us. So that was the moment, the day that I was sitting in the sales model with my daughter at homecoming and someone else doing the pictures and the whole 9 yards, that I said, you know what, enough's enough. I'm getting into resale. I had no idea what that actually meant, but I knew there was a lot of, freedom of time there. And I made that choice to be able to spend that last 4 years of her high school career with her, like, sports and all the events, and not really being chained to a job. So fast forward, I came into resale, and it's kind of my theme, whenever I don't know what I don't know, I just really look for who's doing it the best, because I figure that if I can get in an environment where people are doing it the best, there's going to be some success there for me, because I'm going to learn at the highest level. So I came into resale and I joined a team in the Baltimore area. And at that time, that particular team was the #1 team as ranked by Wall Street Journal in the US. Big
Wow.
team, I think probably about 70-ish people when I joined. And again, all I knew was like that team leader was crushing it. He was at the top of the charts. And so there must be something I can learn there. So I called him up and just said, hey, you don't know me. This is what I want to do. This is my background. I'd love to join the team. And he said yes. And then, again, didn't know what I didn't know. It's funny. I didn't even really hear the words lead generate till I got to KW, which wasn't till 2 years after I got into real estate, into resale. But I said, well, I don't know what I don't know again, but I see these people showing up every day in the office and doing something, and I'm going to do it. And so I did that. My first year in real estate, I just literally showed up every day, and I sold about 40 homes.
Nice.
And,
Wow.
again, still didn't know what lead generation really was. I didn't have a, terminology for it, but I just knew that if I showed up where people are succeeding, I was going to do okay. And so 2 years later, I was really introduced to Keller Williams. And what I noticed there, that there was a model for me to build a team. And so went to Keller Williams and had a lot of amazing success, like really understood from being there sort of how to build a business, and did a lot of things in leadership, and, helped a lot of agents succeed. And really it was time for me to start that, fledgling team of my own. So I started my first team, which, we ended up being one admin and, 2 agents. And then I went and joined someone else who was having an amazing success in the investment side of real estate, and helped that person build a team. And we went from non-existent retail real estate team to, being the top of the charts in the Maryland area in about 14 months. Wow. And so then I got my love for building and building big, and that mission was over. So I'm like, all right, time to build my own team again. So here we are. We are, I just added someone new today. We're really excited to have a new person joining us, but we're a team of 17. Wow. We serve Maryland, Virginia, and DC. And, it really is like what you said. For me, it's the love of these people. I have a hunger to build and to build big, and, just keep iterating. Like there's never really an end, right? But it's really, we're now focused on getting everybody wins and allowing everybody to grow in whatever their goals are. Underneath, like you said, I shepherd them. I like to say, here's where we're going, and here's how we get there, and these are the things we need to do to get there. And when we do these right things, we're going to be successful. So, came over to EXP in March, and that was a really another aspect of wanting to grow and wanting to delimit myself. And with EXP, what I saw was really an amazing culture. And no borders, no limits. So again, we can just keep growing as big as we want to grow.
That's an amazing story. So you did let's unpack that a little bit. So you did 40 units, 40 deals. Like we say in Texas, we call them deals.
I like to call them deals, and then someone told me to stop calling them deals.
I know it really, but see, I'm from Texas though. See, you got to bring it down a little bit in Texas there. Yeah. So we'll bring it down to the Texas thing. So you did 40 deals or 40 transactions or 40 units. Mm-hmm. It's probably a bit better word. Your first year. And then you talked about the concept of shepherding your people, which is really a better word than mothering. I mean, because that's really what you're doing, is you're shepherding them as a servant leader. That's how you are. And and then you became one of the top teams in the area within 2 years.
Within 14 months, we had really, the secret sauce there was we had an amazing lead generation machine going.
But you didn't really even know what lead generation was.
Yes.
as it is defined.
Yes.
That's something to unpack. So let's talk about that for a moment. So a lot of people get in this business, Teal, as you've seen and know, and they just flounder. They don't do well. Even some of them even have good tutelage. I've even had some of my own protege students and so on. And I just say, okay, well, Jesus didn't, he wasn't able to get them all straight, if you will. But I have some that are real close to me, even family members. And I'm like, hey, just do this, do that, do that. They don't do it, right? How were you, that you must have some kind of discipline or background, or what is it about Teal that allowed you to just jump in the game and be at the top within 14 months? I mean, that's unheard of.
Well, it's really a work ethic, and I would attribute, like anybody who knows me will tell you, I work really hard. And the other part is really studying what works, studying the models, studying people who've done it. There is pretty much at this point in real estate, no true new uncovered magic, right? Someone might have a personal genius at something. However, what underlies all of this, you can have all the personal genius in the world, but if you're not following a proven system or a model or being in a culture where people are doing it, it's going to be hard. And, I would say that of all the agents I've mentored, I can think of quite a few. And if you talk to them, they would say, how did Teal lead you to success? And they would all say, I did exactly what she told me, and I just showed up. And there is the modeling, right? It's a model even just to show up every day in real estate. And that's the thing. I didn't know how to label it when I first got in, but what I knew was I saw these people doing something and I was just going to do that.
Yeah, that's quite interesting because a lot of people get in this business. By the way, we down here in Texas, you say you studied, the system, and you studied the model, and we just say we study the game. Right?
There you go.
Again, Texas, again. But but it really is that. So what you did was you actually removed thinking from the equation. In other words, it seems like it's difficult for some people to do that, but with you, it was like, look, you got in the business, you didn't know a better way to do it since you come from new home construction. You didn't know a better way, so you said, hey, this guy's successful. I'm just going to do what he does, or do what this team does, and you just followed the model, followed what was successful, and you got result. And that's what I tell people is success doesn't have particular people's names on it. Success is a structure. When you snap into the structure, you're going to receive the same things that Teal has, the same things that I have, the same things that all of her 17 team members are successful for. And by the way, when we look at the board here, Teal, it's amazing. I see so many of your agents that have capped, and I'm like, okay, another one. They're just following the model. And some of them are capping within 3 or 4 months. Yes. It's quite phenomenal. So you already have we, like you said, there's no secret sauce. There's really no secrets, if you will, but many people pretend that there is a secret, right? Because they get stumped. They get in this business. What would you say to someone that's watching this and they say, hey, I want to be like Teal. I want to do 40 deals my first year, or I've been in the business 5 years and I've never done 40 deals. Let's make next year your first year. How do I do that? What would you say to that person?
Well, I mean, I think I would say a couple things. Number one, I could say, come join me.
I love it. Yeah.
Number two, I would really say, do the same thing. Look for who's doing it and who's doing it the way you want to do it. Study them. One of the beauty inside EXP is that everyone is sharing what works. There's no culture of, keep it to myself, basically. Yeah. And it's literally, something you said, like, we really have to shed, our being, right? We have to sort of get over our ego and what we think works. And we also have to really at times fight our creativity, start with what the basics are. It's written in books. You have books that tell you exactly what to do, read them and do that. And show up every day. I think that one of the challenges is in coming into real estate that I see for newer agents is that freedom of time can actually be a deterrent. We really have to take it on as if it's a time clock punching job, right? We have to punch that clock until we get that traction. And once we get the traction, there's no stopping us. And then it's just iterating on top of what we've already built.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about this earlier too, about this whole concept of work ethic. A lot of people, they get up in the morning, and if they're working from home, for example, I had a buddy of mine, he's like, man, I could never work from home. Well, I've been working from home since I was 23. I'm 51 now. Oh, wow. And I've worked from home since the age of 23. I quit my W-2 job, and I became an entrepreneur, and I work from home. But it really is that work ethic. And I think that, Teal, this would probably be accurate of you because I've watched you. You are probably harder on yourself than any boss would be in terms of discipline and hitting your numbers and writing down your goals and showing up. When you say show up, it means, okay, I'm going to lead generate every day from 9 to 11, and you actually have a butt in the seat at 8:55. For example. Right. So you actually show up, and it's really that this whole thing of almost like an internal barometer or an internal accountability partner, if you will, that some people don't have it internally, and that's where it's like, hey, Teal's got it, For those of you listening to this and you're like, I could use a mentor like Teal, we're going to, her numbers down below. You can give her a ring, text her is easy, or go to her website. We got that down below as well to learn more about how you can have this kind of success, because Teal's the type of person that is, unless you tell her to leave you alone, she's going to help you succeed, and she's going to not leave you alone until you're successful. And for I got to say, Teal, for many, many, many people, probably the majority in the industry, that's what they need. They really need not necessarily a kick in the butt, but they just need someone to help hold them accountable. And there's no shame in it, because some of the biggest, Oprah Winfrey, Barack Obama, Donald Trump, all these people have coaches.
Yes, 100%. And that's it. It's, early on, maybe an agent can't afford to hire a formal coach, right? So get into an environment like our mentorship masters, where we have a structure, or a team, like mine, where we have a structure of people showing up. We're, putting best practices forward. And then what happens is you grow yourself and you grow your business, and then suddenly you can afford the coach that really we need. We need that to get to the next level, bottom line. And that's why all great people who are doing big things have coaches.
Yeah. And when they join your group, your team, they get mentorship masters anyway. So it's actually better. It's better to join through you than through me, because they get a whole nother layer of goodies, if you will. That makes sense. So let's talk about your team. Okay. So because you have a team, but then you also have agents that are joining your organization here at EXP that are really all over the world, if you will. I mean, all over the nation. So tell us more about what you bring to the table to help agents succeed.
Yeah. So really, anyone who joins me, I think number one is I take their success really seriously. It's not, whether it's joining my team or joining, our EXP organization through me, it's about what you need. Like number one, I'm going to help you fast track making it easy for you. Yeah. There are some things about getting up and running in real estate, or even breaking through that ceiling to go through the next level, that I've been through and I see, and I'm just going to help you cut to the chase. Because what's true in real estate is that if all we had to do was lead generate and follow up on people and go on appointments, our success would be a lot faster. And I do see agents getting bogged down in, I need to do this, or, shiny object that, and it's just not helpful. So one of the things that I bring to the table for anyone who really wants to succeed is a little bit of a clarity. Don't spend your time doing that. Don't invest in that, or that's a waste of money, or whatever it is. Just, follow in our footsteps, really. And the beauty of my team is they are so amazing. Anyone who comes into our circle, they embrace them, and they even see like, hey, maybe Teal's busy this day. We got that person, they want to take everyone along for this ride, and it's so amazing. It's just really beautiful. So, shortcut that learning curve, shortcut that what you need to do curve, and, just take advice and run with it.
Yeah. And you've got many people on your team that have been with you for years. They're like they're hyper loyal.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And that's all, I think, like we're always like you said, we're our toughest critic or hardest on ourselves. And, there are days when I end the day and I'm like, I didn't really do enough for people. Or, this year I'm feeling like I haven't really contributed. And you talk to them and they're like, oh my gosh, you're so generous. You give us everything we need. And sometimes we forget, the closer we get to bigger businesses, we forget that people at the foundational level, or who coming up behind, like, their interpretation of what they need is based on a different perspective, right? So I really, I try to, as we build our team and our operations team, it's really about how can we help them go faster, remove friction, and just avoid the stuff that is unnecessary, so they can be clear through to their results.
Yeah, and focusing on the most dollar productive activities, I should say. So I love it. So I know we don't have much time left, but I do still have a couple questions for you. And the first one is this whole idea around joining EXP, because I know for me, it was a process. It was like, EX who, and why would I do something like that? And you were already at the top of your game within 14 months getting the business. You super successful. You already had the recipe. You already had the model. You knew how to succeed anywhere. You could just be, okay, Teal, Clise, Realty, let's go. I'm starting my own thing. What was it about EXP? Because I know it was a series of conversations, right, that we had that brought more clarity. But what did you see, and what was scary about the whole thing, or just talk about that whole transitional piece?
Sure.
Why EXP, if you will?
Yeah. So I had been, super comfortable in the really big world at KW where I was, right? And it was a wide-reaching network of people, and a lot of big thinkers, and I've learned so much there. And really, when it came time to go to EXP, there was one thing that really stood out. And I interviewed like every broker in town, and I understand brokerage models, so I kind of knew like what our team needed, what we didn't need. Also, really important for me was to keep the economics as cutting edge for our agents as possible. To earn a few less dollars for me at this point in my career is not such a huge deal, but I wanted my agents to have not only the best economic package, but the best opportunity to be able to earn some extra money for themselves. Mm-hmm. And so looking at EXP for me was really about, I'd say the highest level thing was delimiting, removing the limits on what's possible, without the boundaries, without competing, brokerages in the same neighborhood, kind of limiting who you could talk to, what agents you could hire, who you could help, all of that. That's just not a thing at EXP. So it feels very freeing. And that was super important to me. The other thing that was important was a really high national leadership lid. I mean, all the way up to Glenn Sanford and some of the people, Brett Grove, everybody, Kevin, Fred, you, really high leadership lid. You're far ahead of me on the pathway to where I want to go, right? And so I knew that was going to be a pull. I wasn't going to get to a spot inside EXP where I'm like, oh, okay, now what do I do? I wasn't ever going to be at the top of the food chain. I mean, in theory, I like to think I could be, but I don't ever want to be, because that means I have to stop growing, right? And so, just really for me, it was being inside of an environment that was big, because when you're a person inside of a big environment, there's no limit onto where you can grow, how you can grow. And even for my team, it was important to me. It was a little different of an environment where my team, the members of my team, are actually welcome into any conversation in EXP, which is not how we experienced it previously, right? It was very team leader centric, which was cool. But at the same time, they get a seat at the table, which I love. And now they're starting to get their own revenue share checks, which is super cool. They're like, whoa, I got revenue share, and that wasn't something that they'd ever had experienced. And it gives them that thirst to grow their wealth and to help others and be rewarded for helping us grow our community with great people.
It's quite interesting that just in all that you said there, I think the sort of the underlying theme was what's next. What's next for Teal? Because here's the thing: when agents join us for different reasons, like some will join because they're struggling and they just want to do better, and they feel like if they join, like under Teal, they're going to be able to succeed finally, and that's true. That's true for them. But then there's others that are already, like you said, top of their game, like you, 14 months top in the area within 14 months. And it's like, but there comes a point where you say, okay, I've conquered, I've won every award. What's next? And you see that there is sort of a ceiling where you are, because you're competing with everyone within 5 square miles, if you will.
Yes.
A radius. Mm-hmm. And you use the word delimiting at least 2 or 3 times. So that's real important to you, right? Not having limitations.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I mean, it's just, that, it's a law, right? There are some basic laws of the world.
Yeah.
that we were put on. And one of the laws is, the fewer your limits, the bigger, is available, the more contribution to everyone. It's just the place for me to be. No limits.
I love it. Well, the last question I have for you is, what really drives you? Like, what makes Teal Clise tick? Like, what's your passion? What's your ultimate purpose or vision or whatever? I mean, you kind of throw all those questions into one, but what drives Teal?
That's a lot of questions there.
Yeah, that would be the main question. What makes you tick?
Yeah. So I would say, on the really human side, what makes me tick is just creating a better space for anybody that I have in my world, whether it be my family, generational, abundance down the line, that, and really being connected to my faith, my beliefs, and the world itself. So that it's just, it sounds altruistic, but it's just to make it better for everybody behind me. Because I was fortunate to have a few people make it great for me. And so I'm passing it along. I'd say on the business side, what drives me is I really learned a love for just building stuff. And I have a real, I can see processes and how things grow really easily. And so for me, it's like, I'll be that person over there always tinkering with how to do this better, faster. I'm inside, of course, one thing we didn't mention is I'm inside the 5 Doors network with some really amazing people. And, we're just building some amazing things, and it's all designed to deliver that generational wealth to, anyone in our circle. So I think that's what drives me. Like, I literally love to come to work every day just for that opportunity to see something differently, better, see somebody have a win, whatever. But for me personally, it's, connected to my being, really.
Yeah. Yeah. And it seems like, too, that you're all about strategic partnerships.
Yes.
Strategic partnerships. So, you've partnered with 5 Doors, you've partnered with EXP, you've partnered with me, you've looked at all of my partners, or our partners, I should say, your partners now, our board of directors, if you will, and like Curtis Johnson and Brent Gove and all these guys. And you're like, oh, that's strategic. And so that's very smart on your part, because a lot of times I'll put myself in there that I didn't want to have partnerships. It was like, it's me. I don't want to trust people because people will let you down, and I don't, all that kind of stuff. So kudos to you for making the right strategic partnerships. And is there anything that we left out? I know we try to compact these. We could talk to you for 4 or 5 hours, because I know you're a wealth of information, and we'll have you back. We'll kind of unpack how your team works, how you guys do stuff. But is there anything that we left out, or anything else that you would like to share before we sign off?
Well, I think the one thing that we left out is sort of the impact that being in, your circle has had for me. And, there are days where I'm like, boy, I can't even take advantage of everything that's being offered to me as far as, leadership, education, knowledge. It's just, I do feel guilty some days that I don't participate even more than I do. But the one thing that I want to make sure that is like the value, one of the sort of intangible values that I have gotten from you and from Josie and, a lot of others is just that sort of reminder that the success, it's not at all costs, right? It can't be. And we have a being and a maker, and we have, taking care of ourselves and our energy. And when if I'm on social media, or if I'm watching what you're doing, you always, something that you do that you don't even know is you kind of ground me, bring me back to like why we're on this earth, right?
Amen. Yeah.
And I think that's important for people to know. There are going to be, places where we can go and we can grind, and everybody's grinding and tired. And, I think there's such a good balance in this community that I love. And I'm so thankful. I mean, just totally energized by being around all of you.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. And I like to say that we have the buffet is always open. The food is always hot. But if you're a chef, so you already got a pretty good menu of items going, and you don't necessarily have to hit the buffet table every day. You can come as you need. And so, but for a lot of agents that really don't have that, we have the buffet table open because they need it, so it's all good. We understand. So, truthfully, there's many that I'm thinking of 2 or 3 people right now. I don't think they've come to anything that I've done in the last year, but they're going to make about 600,000-700,000 this year in GCI. So all good. We just wave to each other, look, like they're on the cruise ship, like kind of over there, and I'm on the other cruise ship, and we wave, we're like high five, and it's all good, So thank you so much, Teal, for being part of my world. My world is better because you're in it, and I don't say that lightly. I mean, it was whenever we would have that call where you were interviewing, because you interviewed every brokerage, including EXP, and I was fortunate to be the one that you reached out to, I actually had a little tinge in my stomach every time I talked to you, because I was like, this woman is the real deal. She's not she's not like an agent. Hey, Knolly, I've been reading your books for 5 years and I can't wait. She's like, Knolly, and are we going to have this? And it was just no nonsense. I was like, okay, I'm on trial here. And but it's a beautiful thing to be in business with you, because you absolutely wanted the best and you desire the best for your team.
Yes.
And nothing less than that will do. So we appreciate you, Teal. Thank you so much for your time and your commitment to be here in our 6-figure success story spotlight. And God bless you. For those of you that are watching this, you have to reach out to Teal. If you've been missing something in your career, if you haven't done 40 deals in a year, you haven't been number one in your city within 14 months. If you haven't done these things, Teal has, and she says it's not a secret sauce, but it must be a secret because a lot of people aren't getting it. If you want that, reach out to Teal. Her number's right down below. Text her. She will respond. Go to her website, check out what we've got to offer, and guaranteed it's going to be, I would say, probably 99% of the time better than what you have. It is scary to change, and we get that. It's scary to make a change, but we call it an upgrade. We don't even call it a change, and so we choose to make it fun and easy. So thank you, Teal. God bless you, and we will see you on the next one.